Dry and clear for most, chilly with widespread frost, cloudier in northwest Scotland and Northern Ireland, overnight lows of 3 degrees Celsius.
Still Busy Living, our weekly conversation with a baby boomer, hosted by Phil Riley.
Boom Radio.
This week's guest on Still Busy Living is the legendary Jim Lea, founder, bass guitarist and principal songwriter for Slade. Jim, welcome to Boom Radio.
Hi.
Now, the single we've been playing on Boom, Jim, is called Am I the Greatest Now? And it's an old track, but it's just been released now. What's the story behind that?
It was proposed as a bonus track on my Therapy album.
Yeah.
Which was really, the critics were very, very kind to it and saying how great it was. And then I moved to Wienerworld for the distribution, and they said, "Oh, we want bonus tracks." So I just pulled that out. So when we were looking, we heard about Boom, and so we sent a track called "The Smile of Elvis," which got to #1 on the Heritage chart. And then for the follow-up, we dragged out Am I the Greatest Now?
And have you been amazed by the response that you've got to this more recent music release?
Yeah, it's been very edifying, you know. Who wouldn't like it, you know? After the Therapy album, I mean, it's difficult to get play on the BBC these days.
Yeah.
And so people like yourselves, it's as I said, it's you know, you're not going to look it in the eye and go, you can bugger off. You know?
That's Jim Lea, Am I the Greatest Now? One of the many tracks he claims to have just pulled off the shelf to re-release to great critical acclaim over the recent months. Jim, you're a black country lad, aren't you? Born in Wolverhampton. And most musicians I talk to have had a sort of smattering of music in the family. But you were really musical as a child, weren't you? I mean, violin, piano, local youth orchestra. Was that from your parents, or was there something else that drove you to be so musical?
My dad was a very good singer. I'm not a good singer. I didn't really sing in Slade. Not lead vocals, anyway.
Yeah.
But my grandfather on my mother's side used to lead the orchestra in Wolverhampton, and he was the first violin and so on and so forth. And I don't think he would have liked what I'm doing, but there you are. I must say I was never bothered about music, reading music, but I did enough to get into the Staffordshire Youth Orchestra, and not that I wanted to go there, really. So my mum wanted me to go there, and my grandmother. And then, of course, I bought a guitar, and I don't know, I seemed to be able to play it instantly for some reason. And plus, it was a time of life when I suppose most lads would have been getting girlfriends and all that sort of thing, but I was completely immersed in this. You've got no idea. When I went to school, I couldn't think of anything else. It was driving me bonkers. And I couldn't escape it. It was terrible. I tried to being the maths lesson, I tried to block it out and it wouldn't go away. So the day came when I actually had been to an audition of a band called the In-Betweens. And they were a great band, really good. And there was an advert in the newspaper saying the In-Betweens professional group require bass player. And then I went for the audition, and so I was really knocked out by them. They'd really got something, and Dave Hill and Don Pell came, knocked on the door to tell me I got the job.
Yeah,
I think I was 15, 16, something like that. And then they went and got this other bloke out. I thought they called him Knob. I called him Knob for the first 3 months.
We'll come back to the In-Betweeners and Slade in a minute, but let's talk about the first single that really influenced you and made you want to become a pop star.
I was coming down the stairs in our house, and I heard this beat that was going on, boom, 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 boom. The Binson Echo, I didn't know what it was then, and I was just mesmerised by it, and I thought, oh, wow, listen to this. And my brother said, I didn't think you liked Bobby V and Elvis and all that. I said, no, they've got girls screaming at them. This is serious music. And, oh, God, that was it. You know, I was on drugs, I think.
Shadows in Apache, the song that really turned this week's guest on Still Busy Living onto pop music and rock music. Jim Lea, founder, bass guitarist and principal songwriter for Slade, is our guest. Coming next, how Slade became famous.
Boom Radio, serving the whole United Kingdom, including Leeds. The oldest flying aeroplane in Britain was made in the city, a one-seat single-engine monoplane.
Still Busy Living, our weekly conversation with a baby boomer, hosted by Phil Riley.
Boom Radio.
This week's guest on Still Busy Living is the legendary Jim Lea, founder, bass guitarist, principal songwriter for Slade. Jim, we just started talking about the in-between there that became Slade as a four-piece. You weren't very successful though, were you, straight away? I mean, you had a good few years of grinding out, trying to crack things, didn't you?
It wasn't until a couple of weeks ago I was looking at something, and they were talking about the Beatles, how they trod the boards for. I mean, that whoever saw the Beatles in those days, they thought they were fantastic. Well, we trod the same boards, and people thought we were fantastic.
I suppose the big break was when Chas Chandler decided that he was going to get involved and back you, was it?
The last time I ever saw Chas Chandler, before he died, I said, "Why on earth did you sign us?" I said, we came from Wolverhampton, and nobody else had signed us, But he said, "Well, first I saw Dave Hill." He said, "I thought, oh, he'd make a nice pop star, And then he was looking at Nod, and he said, saying it. Sometimes he sounded like John Lennon when he was singing. He was very nasal,
yeah,
and he could hear Don at the back. He knew what he was doing. And he said, then he said that the people who were dancing moved away, and he said, then I was looking at you for the rest of the time you were on, and he said, and I thought, that's the guy who's making it all happen."
Jim, let's pause and have a track, and I wanted to play the first song I think that you and Noddy wrote that got to number one, which I think was "'Cause I Love You." Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
I won't laugh at you when you boo-hoo-hoo, 'cause I love you. I can't turn my back on the things you like, 'cause I love you. I just like the things you do. Don't you change the things you do. You get me in a spot
Slade, because I Love You. I think you're playing the violin on that as well as everything else, aren't you, Jim?
Yeah, I was a bit scratchy though in those days because I hadn't played the violin for ages.
Great song.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, Slade were a huge success, weren't they? You were the biggest band in the UK for a good while in chart terms. I think you were the most successful group of the whole of the 70s, really. You know, you were to the 70s what the Beatles were to the 60s, weren't you? How manic was that time for you and the rest of the guys?
Well, for me, I had to just think about writing the next song. You know.
Do people appreciate how much pressure that you're under when you're a successful band to continue that success?
Well, I don't think the band realised it. They didn't stop to think, hang on, if he doesn't come up with some songs, you know, we've had it. So I'd do as much as I could, and I'd go over to Nods, and you know, he'd finish off the lyrics, and you know, it worked. It worked really well, that the writing partnership.
And did you enjoy the fruits of your labour, or like lots of bands around that time, did a lot of the success end up in other people's pockets?
The taxman.
Yeah, right.
I'm not joking. We were paying 103% tax. Can you believe that?
Gosh, that's amazing, isn't it?
We were broke. We got nothing. Of course, and I was very homesick when first time we went to America, and then it came up about spending 2 years out. But I couldn't do that, you know. Yeah. I just wanted to be at home. Still do, really.
And although you're famous for the rock and the glam, I think, in Slade, some of the songs are brilliant, poignant ballads, aren't they? Do you think that sometimes gets overlooked in the Slade history, the fact that you wrote some absolutely fantastic, you know, ballad songs?
Every day, yeah. We came back from America. It was just for a couple of weeks because there were no gigs for us in those 2 weeks, and then we went back again. I invited some mates around, and we'd had something to eat, and we got piles of wine, and so I played them the Christmas song. I said, it goes like this, you know, and they said, how do you do it though? I said, well, anybody can write a song. I just found out that I could do it, and I said, so I said, come on, let's go around the table. Everybody's got to sing a song that they've just thought of. So we went round the table. Actually, it wasn't bad what they were coming out with. And then it came to my wife. We hadn't been married long. She said, let's go in the living room because, you know, I'll be too shy to sing it in front of anybody else. And she sang, every day when I'm away, I'm thinking of you. Everyone can carry on except for we two. And then there was nothing that came after that, but that's what she wrote.
Yeah. And
then I did the next bit, and you know that I love. When I was at the recording studio, and we were making an album, and I was doing that bit, and then the won't even show.
When I'm away, I'm thinking of you. Everyone can carry on except for we two. And you know that I love, and you know that and you know that I love won't die.
Slade and Every Day. Jim Lea, the creative force behind Slade, is our guest on Still Busy Living this week. Jimmy, your favourite record by somebody else I asked you for, you picked an absolute classic by The Who. Tell us about this.
I came in from school one night and I'd been jamming with, we had a French teacher and he was a brilliant boogie piano player. And the English teacher came down and I came in and I was late getting home from school because I'd been jamming with the teachers, you know. And then it came on, it's Ready, Steady, Go. And the Who kicked it off and it started off. And I liked the Who anyway, but they started off and they were doing this dang, 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 dang. Then Roger Daltrey came in, he was singing, and then Pete Townsend was putting his guitar up and down the mic stand, you know, making it go wow, wow. And I thought, crikey, that's amazing. Then he stuck his guitar in his amplifier.
Oh, God.
and so it went right through the cloth on the front of the amplifier. And I thought, well, what a thing to do to your guitar, you know? And I just didn't get it. But then there was a bass break. And when Roger Daltrey sang Hope I die before get old, and I thought, oh, he frightened me, to be quite honest. But then when the bass break came, I thought, bloody hell, yeah.
People try to put us to down, talking about my generation, just because we get around. Talking about my generation, things they do look awful. Talking about my generation, I hope I die before I get old. Talking about my generation, this is my generation, baby. Why don't you all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say. I'm not trying to cause a big sensation. I'm just talking about my generation. My generation. This is my generation, baby. All fade away. Don't try to dig what we all say. I'm trying to cause a big sensation. Just talking about my generation. This is my generation. This is my generation, baby. My generation. People try to put us to down, talking about my generation, just because we get around. Talking about my generation, things they do look awful cold. My generation, I hope I die before I get old. My generation, my generation, baby. My generation.
The Who with the late, great John Entwistle on bass and My Generation. Our guest on Still Busy Living this week, the bass player and creative force behind Slade, Jim Lea. And we'll be back talking about the breakup of Slade next.
I've seen the yellow lights go down the Mississippi. I've seen the bridges of the world and they're for real. I've had a red light on the wrist without me even getting kissed. It still seems so unreal. I've seen the morning in the mountains of Alaska. I've seen the sunset in the east and in the west. I've sang the glory that was Rome and passed the hound dog singers home. It still seems for the best. And I'm far, far away with my head up in the clouds. And I'm far, far away with my feet down in the crowds. Letting loose around the world, but the call of home is loud, still as loud. I've seen the Paris lights from high upon Montmartre and felt the silence hang below in no man's land. And all those Spanish nights were fine, it wasn't only from the wine, it still seems all in hand. And I'm far, far away with my head up in the clouds. And I'm far, far away with my feet down in the crowds. Letting loose around the world, but the call of home is loud, still as loud. I've seen the yellow lights go down the Mississippi, the Grand Bahama Islands always carry on, and all those alligator smiles stay in your memory for a while. There still seems more to come. And I'm far, far away with my head up in the clouds. And I'm far, far away with my feet down in the crowds. Letting loose around the world, but the call of home is loud, still as loud. And I'm far, far away with my head up in the clouds. And I'm far, far away with my feet down in the crowds. And I'm far, far away, but the sound of home is loud, still as loud.
This week's guest on Still Busy Living is the legendary Jim Lea, founder, bass guitarist and principal songwriter for Slade. Jim, I think you broke up, didn't you, as a band about 92. I talked to lots of people on the show who've been in bands that are broken up, and most of them describe it as a divorce. Did it feel like that to you guys when the inevitable happened?
No. There's your answer.
What did it feel like?
Well, I got Nod to come over here, and his wife had left him. It really hurt him badly, and I couldn't really. What can you say when somebody wants to pack up?
Yeah.
And he was saying he was also getting headaches because of the high singing. Now it was me who asked him to sing high, because our first hit was "Get Down and Get With It," which was just a screamer.
Yeah.
And so he knew there was no getting out of that. He'd always have to sing high. I'll tell you who else had to do that. Bono from U2. Because the record producer said, you're having more success when you sing high. So I thought, crikey, how about that as well? But, I told Nod to sing high. And most of the time. And he said, I've got these headaches. He said, I can't do it. And so, just had to say, okay, that's that then. That's when I started to record my own songs, just on my own.
Yeah.
And so that was it. We just sort of floated away.
I mean, you and Noddy, of course, have topped the royalty charts every year, haven't you, for the past 20 odd years with Merry Christmas Everybody. Can you believe the continuing success of that particular song?
I got to come up with something. Chaz had booked a studio in New York where John Lennon had just finished his album.
Right.
And I thought, oh, well, we're going to record in the same studio as John Lennon. And so I got in the shower and put the phone down. He said, "Have you got any songs?" I said, "I've got nothing." And I just put the phone down, and I went in the shower. I was really full of that, and I was thinking, I could stick this to that and that. So what I did was got just a load of bits and stuck them together, and I got the idea from to do a Christmas song because my mother-in-law 2 years before had said, "Jim, I'm reading this article in this newspaper about Bing Crosby and White Christmas. Why don't you do a Christmas song?" She said it's still earning money.
A smart woman.
Yeah, but I did. I mean, I was very angry, actually. I had to put the newspaper up in front of my face. I must have been bright red, with anger. And so I said, "No, we do not do Christmas songs. We are a rock band." And so anyway, I got in the shower and it all came to me all at once. And
Wow.
It was, I got the, "So here it is, Merry Christmas, everybody's having fun." And that was it. I had difficulty with the other three. They weren't having anything to do with it. And so we got into the John Lennon studio. And so the engineer said, Dave Hill went on strike. He said, "No, not doing any Christmas song." I said, "Well, we haven't got another song, let's just get on with it." And he said, "Hey, well, why don't you give it a go and see how it works?" And Chaz joined in, and I was sort of saying, "Look, get on with it because we've got to do it quickly because we've got to release it in a very short time."
And I believe it was recorded midsummer, I think, wasn't it? Was it really hot at the time?
Yeah, it was September in New York. Oh, blimey.
So here it is, Merry Christmas, everybody's having fun. Look to the future now, it's only just begun. So here it is, Merry Christmas, everybody's having fun. It's Christmas. Look to the future now, it's only just begun.
Slade, Merry Christmas Everybody, great song and a great tale for how it was recorded. Your current project then, Jim, it's called The In-Betweens. Now, that's the original name? You've managed to ensure that you can use the original name again, have you?
Yeah, we're the original guys who left the band.
Yeah, fantastic.
And I wanted it to sound like the In-Betweens back then, raw.
Yeah, and so the track that we're going to play is a cover of a 50s blues track. It was originally a hit for the Yardbirds, but it's also been covered by Aerosmith and Johnny Bennett, so it's got a great heritage to it. And it's a real rocking song, isn't it? Train Kept a Rolling. Why did you pick this song?
Because when I saw the In-Betweens, and then I heard the Yardbirds doing it, it was Keith Fordyce. It was like on a lunchtime thing. I'd come home from school for my lunch, and then I'd walk back to school. And Jimmy Page was playing guitar then. But I could see the In-Betweens who never played it, who'd never even heard of it. So we've got Don, myself, the singer from the In-Betweens, and the rhythm guitarist from the In-Betweens.
Great.
And we got a bass player to come in. And so we put it down in the afternoon, and it was really good fun. Because we weren't trying to make it perfect. I wanted to make it sound like the In-Betweens. And the nearest I've heard anything sound like the In-Betweens is that the Undertones, Teenage Kicks.
I do know the Undertones, Teenage Kicks, yeah.
When that record starts, it goes down 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 down. That's how the In-Betweens sounded.
Great. Well, look, we're gonna play it now. This is the In-Betweens and Train Kept a Rolling. The In-Betweens, Train Kept a Rolling. You said Don is on that. How is Don's health and how's your health, Jim?
Well, we were talking about guys like yourself, Boom, and the Heritage Chart Show and all that. Well, Don has now got one band that's number 9 in the Heritage Chart this week. It's Don and the Dreamers. Then he's got Don Powell's Occasional Flames.
Right.
And then he's got the Don Powell Band.
So he's doing okay. He's still keeping going.
Yeah.
I've got to ask, for all of the Slade fans who are listening, I've got to ask, might we ever see you and Noddy back in a studio together?
No. I was always very quiet in the first part of the band, and then I went to psychology college, and then I went into 20 years of psychotherapy, and I wouldn't be talking to you now if I hadn't have done that.
Yeah,
because I sort of made friends with myself. So
yeah. Okay.
It's weird, isn't it?
Now, quite often with pop stars and rock stars, their defining song is one of the very first ones that they've ever written. And it's funny, I mean, I think with Elton John and Your Song and Billy Joel and Piano Man, they're very early on in their careers, they write a song which actually is just, almost at the pinnacle. Yeah. And I think, do you think the same is true with you, and how does it feel? I mean, it certainly feels to me as like the best song you ever wrote, and it was written very early on in your career, wasn't it?
Well, we had this piano at home, and it was given to my dad, and most of the notes were broken on it, especially the black notes. It was like just like a mouthful of rotten teeth, and I played it banging things out. And that's where I came up with the ding, 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 ding. That's where that started. I must have been 13, something like that, 14.
You must have kept that sort of in a file in the back of your head for years and years before you eventually recorded it.
Yeah, it was when we were doing the film Flame, Slade and Flame. We were in the band car, and we were going along, and Johnny Steele, who was the drummer in the Animals, was Chaz's right-hand man. That they wanted us to write some songs that could be singles. I was sitting there, just like I am now, and a bit vacant, and I said, "I've got it. I've got the theme to the film." And Chaz couldn't believe it. We went and met him on the night, and I said, David Putnam, or Lord Putnam as he is now, he was very complimentary about it, and he said, what a beautiful song. And there's a lot of people put that right up there.
Well, Noel Gallagher, I think, he said it's one of the best songs ever written in the history of pop, which is, whatever you think of Noel Gallagher, that's a pretty big affirmation, isn't it?
Yeah, those are rough guys, aren't they, Oasis guys, but I can tell that he's being sincere about that.
Well, look, I hope sincerely that the In-Betweens are going to record more tracks. Do you think you might get more stuff done?
Yeah, if it's as easy as it was doing that, just an afternoon,
Let's hope it is still that easy, because people love hearing what you're doing now. And Jim Lea from Slade, it's been great talking to you today on Boom Radio, and best of luck with everything else.
Nice talking to you, Phil.
Nice talking to you, Jim. Let's play out with How Does It Feel?
How does it feel running around, round, round? How does it feel watching from upside down? 'Cause many years from now there will be new sensations and new temptations. How does it feel? How does it feel right at the start? And how does it feel when you are thrown apart? 'Cause many years from now there will be new relations and new frustrations. How does it feel? Oh, oh. Do you know what it's like to be searching in your own time? All your Thank you.